Thank you, Les Corla. In case I forget, in relation to one comment by Deputy O'Snuddy concerning people who are paying in cash, I would like to ask the Minister if he could look at that issue again. I don't actually think that people should suffer because they're paying in cash in relation to this issue. Obviously, nobody likes paying tax, and my colleague Deputy Hannigan has outlined the situation as to why we are where we are. But I would have to say that a measure like this is more palatable than budget cuts. The main reason I support this bill is because there is need for a more adequate stream of funding to local government. I realise this measure is an interim one where some funding towards local government can be recouped. In terms of a household charge, €100 is quite small when you compare, for example, to what's paid in our nearest neighbour in Northern Ireland, where it averages out at something like £1,500 for an average-sized house. It's also worth pointing out that Ireland as a country is almost unique in not having some form of direct local taxation. And for us to restore power to local authorities, one element of that is that they have a proper stream of funding. There are some weaknesses to this bill in the sense that it doesn't go far enough. I understand that the €100 charge per house is to be lodged in the local government fund, which is then passed on to local authorities. I have two problems with this, and I would like the Minister to give serious consideration to amending the legislation before it goes in the statute book. In my view, the money collected should go directly to the local authority in which the dwelling is situated. If it goes into the general pot, the more populous local authority areas will not receive what its residents have put in. In this regard, it's the same sort of situation as pertains with motor tax, that the motor tax that's collected in each county goes into a general pot and then it's divvied up, which means that certainly Dublin and other populous places like Cork don't get the money that's actually collected in their area. The second problem in this regard is this: not only should the money collected go to the local authority where the money was collected, each authority should be given the responsibility for collecting the money themselves, because it is important that local authorities have the ability to finance themselves. They shouldn't be dependent directly on central government.
Now,
I realise that this particular thing can't be done at this stage, but I do hope that the Minister, in terms of subsequent local government reform, will think this one through. What I say in relation to my last 2 points obviously is inadequate for rural counties with small populations, and obviously some mechanism needs to be put in place where they get some central funding to make up their shortfall. Another issue that needs to be addressed as soon as possible is this: a flat charge per house is, to be honest, unfair in that it doesn't discriminate between those with wealth and those who are less wealthy. I know the Minister accepts that this needs to be addressed. Could I suggest that ideally the determination of a household rate should be influenced both by the size of the home and by the wealth of its owners? Taxes related to the size of a home would encourage empty nesters to sell, therefore freeing up homes for young families. I would just like to. I appreciate the fact that there are waivers, and I would just ask the Minister to check that, as the Act is implemented, that the waivers are actually going to the right people. And lastly, to conclude, yes, Corla, this morning I heard Deputy Pringle on the radio encouraging people not to pay either this charge or the sewage charge, and frankly, I think that's highly irresponsible of him. I think it's really important that people are encouraged to pay the tax that is imposed on it. I know none of us like paying it, and that's been the case from time immemorial. But if we don't pay the taxes that are imposed on us, it really leads us down the road of chaos that we have in Greece, where many taxes aren't properly collected at all.
Thank you, Deputy.
Just in conclusion, I mean, Deputy Pringle's remarks do highlight two further points, really, which is that we do need to work as much as possible towards a more equitable system of income tax, and also to use it also does point to the need for us to get some greater fairness from the EU and IMF, because that at least would set a good example to people.
Thank you, Deputy.